Hi, everybody. Welcome to your weekly broadcast. My name is Lee Honish. First and foremost, go to homeadvocates.io, homeadvocates.io. We have live events coming up next Monday in Las Vegas. And then the week after, we're doing three more masterminds that are a little bit different. Probably not quite as spectacular as Las Vegas, but we're doing three of them in California. You are certainly going to get a very large amount of content at those events. I have promised that every single event, and you can check this on the page. So Las Vegas, I'm promising 3.5 hours of actual content with no upsell. And you might be asking yourself, well, Lee, I want to hear about your programs and your services. You will at the beginning for 5 whole minutes, maybe 10. I'll be generous. The same will happen at each of the events. I believe my friend Fred Solomon is coming out. I think we can have Pete, who's on the call with me, maybe up to Carlsbad. Pete and Fred, and I think Derek at that one. So they're all a little bit different. And the idea is to make you a little bit more well-rounded if you believe in the distressed market. But you can find out the information by going to homeadvocates.io, or you can call the office, 833-969-4673. Of course, we have a program. Today, we're going to specifically talk about EXP and the value proposition of EXP, because we are brokered by EXP, and there's a specific reason. We mitigate short sales. We'll also be negotiating loan modifications. We'll also be negotiating forbearance agreements. We get opportunities from our agents to help people refinance or some of the other options that are technically out there. We wanted to be an actual real estate body per se. Okay, that's all the overview of everything that's going on. I'll probably clean that up in post. Today, my guest on the call is Pete Sanchez. Pete Sanchez is a mortgage broker. As I said, his beautiful and very smart wife is the real estate agent. Pete kind of does what I do. And he's kind of the, am I wrong, Pete? Like, you see a lot of me in you. Like, I kind of look at your operation like you're the rah-rah go-getter, sign people up under my wife, EXP. So let's start right there, structure-wise, and what makes EXP different than anybody else. And we're signed up directly under Pete because Pete was kind enough to get me to wake up. If you haven't come and seen me live or heard my story, you're missing out. I've told the story. I tell the story at the live events, but Pete was basically the one who believed in the idea. And I believe in people who believe in me. It's as simple as that. The newfound version of myself. So with all that said, Pete, you kind of run the same format as I do, right? Is your wife actively involved in recruiting as much as you are? Like, how does that all break down from your perspective?
Correct. So good morning, everybody. Thank you again, Lee, for having me on this call. And I just really quick before I get into myself, I just wanted to give some more kudos to Lee. How I met Lee was back in 2008, I believe. I'm 36 now, so I started when I was 23, got in short sale market, wholesaling, flipping short sales, and was looking for some really solid marketing on how to get in front of distressed sellers. And I think it was a simple Google search or something, and I came across his podcast. I started listening to his podcast. I was like, man, this guy's like super knowledgeable in this arena. I'm like, I definitely want to follow him, and I invested in his marketing and immediately went to work and started seeing some amazing results, picking up short sales for myself, for other investors, and just really took a lot of what he taught, and I became a local expert here in San Diego called the San Diego Short Sale Kid. So it was a really cool brand, and a lot of the content that I was sharing, it was just really sharing about what Lee and what he was sharing, and it made me an expert. And I was working with a lot of realtors, so just want to give a huge kudo to Lee, and that's why we're connected, because we see this market. Something's going to happen. We're already seeing it. I think everyone's feeling it, and we want to be prepared for it. And Lee's always seems to be like 5-10 steps ahead of everyone. And Sometimes I'm like, I'm kind of unsure about that, but then like it happens, or I see an article, I'm like, damn, he was right. Like, think this stuff is happening. So just want to give a huge kudos. Those of you guys who are on here, you're obviously here because he's a sought out expert in this industry, in this arena of distressed property. So just want to give a huge kudos to that. So yeah, like Lee said, I'm in the mortgage world. I'm a real estate investor as well. I'm actually in my car right now, about to visit one of my properties that I'm fixing up. I see the guys outside cutting the tree right now, and they're working on the roof. So that's where I'll be after this call. But yeah, as far as EXP, when my wife was like, yeah, I think I want to do this, I was just kind of a little skeptical, to be honest, because she was with 100% brokerage, very low overhead, and I was like, man, but this seems like a pretty good opportunity. I mean, we're getting 100%. Like, why would you want to go to EXP? Like, it just and at first to be honest, yeah, I just kind of like, okay, like I had, you know, I wasn't really, I never really told my wife that, but in the back of my head, I'm like, well, she'll do it for a couple months and then we'll just go back to this brokerage, which is kind of sad to say, but she was like, you know what, I just feel like I'm supposed to be called to this company. And fast forward, it's been 2 years with DXP. And one of the things that my wife and I, um, and anybody on this call, like you really have to be humble. You really have to be humble, and that's something that I've learned early on from a lot of mentors is you always want to come in with the mindset that you know nothing, you know nothing, you know nothing. And what that means is anytime that you're listening to a podcast or just anyone, just never come in with the mindset like, oh, I already know that, or I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, what am I going to learn? Like, well, you're not going to learn anything with that attitude. You don't have an open mind. And what I love about EXP that's just been amazing is the word that I want to use is access. It gives you access to the top of the top producers in the nation. It gives you access to people like Lee Honish and some of our upline leaders who are doing 3, 4, $500 million a year. We have a very exclusive mastermind that's on Mondays, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm just very blown away by this mastermind because I've been part of many masterminds. I've invested $25,000 to be part of masterminds, and this what's crazy is that it's free once you join the EXP, specifically our team. You get this access to these people who are already done there. They've already been there. They've already have the operations. They're showing you like their flyers that they use for their open house, where they do their Facebook ads. I'm just mind blown, and I'm like I can't believe they're sharing all this information because when my wife was in other brokerages, yeah, you have sort of a team aspect, but no one's gonna really sit down, or they're not gonna open up the vault to what they're doing to generate buyer and seller transactions. Like, no, like that's they might give you a very vague answer. Oh, I door knock or whatever, but they're not going to tell you like, hey, here's my. Oh, by the way, hey, what's your email? I'll send you my script. Like, what do you need? Like, what can I help you to excel in your business? And that's what I've seen about EXP. It's just amazing model. So that's the first thing is obviously you're on this call because you want to increase your production. So if anyone else says anything other about EXP, oh, EXP is all about recruiting and blah blah blah, that is part of it. But the main thing about EXP is to help you increase your production by being around other top producers. Your mind will expand, uh, and the biggest thing too is you're going to be exposed. Every time I'm on these calls, I'm just like I look at areas of my life where I fall short in my leadership, in my real estate business. I'm like, oh my god, like I've dropped the ball in this area, but that is a good thing to do. That's a good. You want to shine light on what's holding you back, on what are some mental hindrances that are keeping you from picking up the phone. Maybe you're here and you have some call reluctance, and that phone feels like 1,000 pounds. Well, I totally understand what that feels like, and you got to be around people that have overcame that, and they can guide you to certain books or just help you, in your psychology to be able to uncover that. Like that, and that's to me that is priceless. That's how I see EXP is an environment where or you have wisdom. And if there's anything, I'm pretty big on my faith um, with God, and one of my favorite verses is in Proverbs that it says that if when you seek counsel or when you seek a multitude of advisors, your plans will surely succeed. So again, when you're surrounded around many advisors that have already been there and done that, it's going to shorten your learning curve. You're going to get there a lot faster, and they'll be able to guide you in your real estate business. So that's pretty much kind of like a high level of what we've experienced with EXP, and we think it's an amazing model. Again, it's if you want access to top producers and being able to get your questions answered and the insider information, then definitely you're in the right place with EXP.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of the point of the call. So everything you guys are a part of right now, I don't care if you're a part of Home Advocates, you're still a part of Monster Marketing or Advocate Marketing, or excuse me, I didn't mean to cough during your thing, Pete. I don't know what happened there. You're all a part of what's happening right now because of something that started basically 2 years ago. And I was presented with the opportunity to do marketing for a group, for a friend, for their group, to get them more EXP agents. Particularly, I don't like MLMs. And I'm not going to deny that there's no way to get around it. EXP is an MLM at the end of the day. We can all dress it up. We can all talk about it. And we can also talk about the fact that no MLM has ever really sustained super long periods of time. Like any real estate company, I like when people use that as an excuse. Really? You're telling me there's real estate companies that stay around indefinitely? They just don't. Nothing is permanent. So take a breath. And it's still early enough in the company's history where you have opportunity. When I sat at that meeting, I knew when they asked me the question to bring a value proposition, right? So if you're on this call and you're an EXP agent already, if you're on this call and you're thinking about switching brokerages, if you're on this call and you have your own brokerage and or a real estate agent, I would say this: if you're an independent real estate agent in a brokerage like a Keller Williams, I would tell you to join EXP, and I'm going to tell you why. It gives you the opportunity to be a broker without being a broker, and you make a passive income off the production of other people. Now, I've said this, there are only 3 things you can do as an agent, right? One is doing the work of real estate. One is doing the marketing of you as a brand or a product, which is what we discussed yesterday on the coaching call for Home Advocate people. And now with EXP, they've added a third component, which is recruiting people in your downline, right? So they believe it's based on an attraction principle that you as if I'm wrong about this, because I've met the CEO and everybody at the top, I believe that their idea is that as a good, productive agent, you will attract people who are interested in the way you operate, which is also the reason they share as much information as they do, agent to agent or mastermind. There's one going on right now with Craig out in Texas, I believe, with Dan Beer. Like that's happening right now. And in August, there's a Brent Grove funnel that's happening in Vegas. And I'll make it really clear, when I do my event in March, one of my 3 days in Vegas will be an EXP day for everybody in that side of the funnel. I will specifically have all these people talk, but the core of it will still be about distressed properties on just an EXP day. Then one of the days will be specifically for Home Advocate people. And then one day will be for general real estate agents. And that's the lucky opportunity that I'm in right now. But the reason I bring all that up, am I wrong in my assessment of what they believe? Like, they want you to be a productive agent, and that will attract people who want to be mentored by you, basically. That's basically the model they're after. At least that was my perception when I was asked to figure out marketing for it.
Correct. Yeah. Definitely, that's network marketing. That's how that model works. Is obviously people want to have the lifestyle or And most importantly, when somebody has made it, you know, whether it's a friend or somebody that you know, you're like, hey man, like I want, you know, could you help me? Like help me get those same results. That's what at the core of what network marketing is helping the next person achieve whatever they want to achieve. And you know, from a high level, when I see this from a high level of EXP, I'm like when you're if you're a current broker or you want to be a broker or start a team, it's like, why not join EXP? You can build a international team because we have some team members from Mexico right now. And the crazy part is, so my wife is not a broker. She doesn't have a broker's license. Why would we want to get a broker's license and open ourselves up to the liability,
right?
Yeah, and the litigation of being a broker? With EXP, it allows you to have your own worldwide brokerage without having your brokerage license. Let me repeat that again. EXP allows you to have your own brokerage without having a brokerage license. So maybe you want to get that and you're like, well, you know, I want that as a title, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a huge fan of Robert Kiyosaki. And if you read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which changed my life, and then the other one is Cash Flow Quadrant, he talks about you want to be on the B&I quadrant. Now, the reality is that when you're just a realtor, you're on the S quadrant, right? We got to go out there, we got to go find a deal, we make a nice commission, but there's no passive income unless you have rentals or something. So you got to go do that same work over and over again. So for me, I don't know, but I want to follow Robert Kiyosaki's model of the cash flow quadrant. I want to be on the B and I as much as possible. The B for business owner and the I as investor. Well, with EXP, that allows you to do that, because currently on the B side, we have 23 team members on our team right now, and so the whole keyword of the keyword of being in the B quadrant is to have leverage. And there's a famous guy named Paul Getty from Getty Oil. He said something very, very key that you got to understand is, like, he said, and he's quoted for this. He says, I would rather make 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. That is key to understand, that you got to understand leverage. Leverage is what creates time freedom. It allows you to have more time in your life, and there's nothing like passive income. So with EXP, now because we built a team and we're working with Lee, we're getting a very small percentage of a lot of people's efforts. So far, we've had months where it's like $500, $800, $1,700. I mean, that pretty much covers like our current mortgage. So that's extra money that's coming in, on top of our real estate production. Like, that's a pretty awesome feeling to have that passive income coming in.
Yeah.
And then on the I quadrant of being an investor, well, that is where the stock comes into play. When we got started in EXP 2 years ago, we bought a bunch of stock, and the stock that was awarded to us for our production, we were at an average of $8 a share. So today's price, I think last time I saw it was like $35 a share. So we're sitting on a really nice little portfolio of stock, and that's crazy because, like, no other company did that for us. No other company, we were producing and we brought them agents. We never got no stock or revenue share. Like, all they did was they invited us to a Christmas party appreciation, and that was cool. Right. But at the end of the day, like, I want to have stock in the company. I want to have equity. I want to have revenue share. And to me, this is a no-brainer model. So,
yeah, I completely agree. For those of you who are joining us late, we're talking about, basically, this is about value prop and why you should do a value proposition. So yes, I agree. It allows you the brokerage and all those things. So as I sat there at this meeting, I realized that you needed an overwhelming value proposition as a recruiter, right? So in my case, before you hear what Pete does, which would mean all my people are sort of in the same boat, because that's what Pete offers. And whatever Kyle generally offers that entire group, or again, it all falls down this chain where my people who get an unreal value proposition. I have not released this information. I certainly haven't recorded it. And it's the reason Pete's on. I wanted to just basically give it a background. We did try to record this once, and somehow magically, Pete, that video did no longer exist on the Ambassador timeline. So I'm going to lay it out today and make it abundantly clear what our value proposition is for signing up with Home Advocates as your representative when you sign up for EXP, if you choose to join. Now, if you're with EXP already, or you're already with another brokerage, and I'm even going to say this and record it, if you're talking to somebody already about EXP and you are in the works of joining under that person, don't contact me and say you want to sign up under me. Sorry. I don't want any bad blood with anybody else. I do know we're going to sign up a lot of agents. And here's why. It's what we offer. And Pete will talk about the rest of what EXP offers. I don't really care beyond telling you, as an EXP agent, you can sign people up. And I'm going to explain what you can do with that leverage as well, because I'm going to give you the same value prop. So you get to join Home Advocates as a full member. You additionally get a Monday and a Friday coaching call, right? So if you're with Home Advocates, you get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday coaching calls. People that are with EXP and me are now going to start having a Monday and a Friday check-in. Why? On Friday, it's your busiest day going into the weekend. On Monday, we want to start you off on a good foot. I believe one of them is going to be accountability, probably on Monday's call. I'm going to have Derek just basically check in, make sure you're held accountable, and get a check-in over the weekend. And I'll do Friday. I want you guys to have good marketing and good mentality going into the weekend. That's a basic thing, right? On top of the already awesome Home Advocates package where we provide leads and the marketing and the coaching and the one-on-one and everything else we do. All right, put all that aside. Now we get to our Express Buyer Program. Everybody on this call who is already with Home Advocates has lobbied, and they have won, including Pete, who's already tried to use the source once, I believe. If you, as forget distressed property for a second, as an EXP agent, if you, as an EXP agent underneath us, find any listing whatsoever, we want you to bring it to us, to our Express Buyer Program. Again, we've talked about this previously. We have a source that will buy at fair market value and pay full commission, 6%. I'm holding up my fingers, the 6% commission. And I'm going to give you the breakdown if you're an EXP agent with us. We're going to make sure that you make, I believe, if I'm correct, you make 4.5% if you bring that deal to us as our EXP agent. I got it correct. 4.5%. I said that correctly. You will be listing the property. You will get a 6% listing agreement by your client, and you're going to put it on at 4.5. You're going to be getting 4.5% on the listing side, and the 1.5 will cover our administrative costs and pay off the way we actually work with this individual. Right? They're just looking for properties, but to make the pipeline work on our end, I'm cutting it down to almost costs. Yes, we make a little bit of profit at Home Advocates, but to quote Pete, 1% of all of you is a lot better than none percent, right? Or me going out and doing listings, which I don't have time for. I would love to. I know Derek would love to. Even Jen and Gina, if I gave them a chance, would probably run out the door and try to use our marketing and our techniques to go get listings. We don't have time. We're doing other things. That's what this company is. We're an education group at the moment. Maybe in the future, I'll let them. That's wrong. I don't force anybody to do anything, but obviously they see the value of just sort of running the company instead of doing traditional real estate, and encouraging and empowering all of you to go out and get those properties. So any listing, if you're an EXP agent, bring it back to us. We'll give you 4.5%. The other 1.5 will go to the buyer side, and that will cover the administrative costs. That value proposition by itself should be more than enough to sign up under us. As you guys are aware, we do provide you your lead in EXP, and all of that, right? So here's a really interesting thing. If it's a distressed property that you bring to us, and normally Home Advocates, because we do provide the leads and the follow-up and everything else, it normally drops you back down to 3%. Because you're with EXP, not Home Advocates, this is specifically as an EXP agent, you're going to make 4.5% on those distressed properties as well. That means you are making the maximum possible return on whether or not I give you the lead, which would normally be a 3% if you're in Home Advocates, right? As an advocate who came in because you're with another brokerage or you want to stay there. Tell me if any of this is making sense, Pete, because I'm saying it out loud and I'm hoping it makes sense to everybody. I'm just talking about your net return on bringing a deal back. It's normally a 3% for anybody who's a basic Home Advocate. And of course, I'm going to say this for everybody who's a basic Home Advocate, you guys get 4% if you bring your deal back to us and bring your regular listing back. I think we had originally quoted 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. I'm not doing that. You guys can do 4% if it's your listing and you bring it to us first at fair market value to our investor. You can have 4% on the listing side. Home Advocates will get the 2%. If you're an EXP agent with us, it's 4.5, 1.5. If it's our lead that we helped you with, I sent you the lead, gave you the stuff. Okay, it's ready to go in. It's going to go back through the funnel. For Home Advocates, it's a 3-3 split. If you're an EXP agent, we're going to give you, once again, 4.5. I'm maxing it out just for you guys. Said it. I think I might even be willing to go 4 and 2 for regular advocates. So you're basically getting a half point on every deal on those. No, it would be 3 and 3. I don't, we have to see when those deals come in. Nobody's brought one of those deals to us yet. It's been everybody's outside deal. I want to maximize those. So it's 4 if you're if you're with Home Advocates, not an EXP agent with us, you can have 4 and 2 on the split for bringing us your deal first. If you're with EXP underneath us, it's 4.5%. Now, if that's not enough, I'm going to sweeten the pot, EXP people. If you sign up underneath us, we have something called our Frontline 100. So the first 100 agents who sign up underneath us basically get their territory and they get people. We will sign people up underneath you who want to join us in EXP because our goal is 1,000 agents. And additionally, anybody who signs up underneath you that you recruit or that we recruit for you, that half point when they bring a deal back, because it'll be a 4.5 technically, when they bring back anything to the investor, we're going to give you, we're only going to give them 4% for the people who sign up underneath you, or I'll figure it out. But anybody who signs up, I'll make sure you make a piece of that on the back end as well. Directly a check written by Home Advocates to you. So we want to increase, you're not only getting their passive income, we're going to give you a piece of their commission that normally Home Advocates would make. We're going to give you a percentage for people you recruit and recruit for you. That's possibly the highest value proposition in all of EXP. I don't know of a better value proposition right now. There are some wonderful people in EXP, Brent and Craig and Dan, like really big names in their markets, big hitters. They're not offering what I'm offering. This is where you jump in, Pete, and go, yeah, it's going to be tough.
No brainer. especially with this this next turnaround of the market. No other that I know of, no one's teaching this, no one's preparing anyone for this market, and no one has the content, all the marketing pieces already available. Like, yeah, they're gonna pop up, but they'll pop up just because, by the time they pop up, you're like, man, I'm already behind on getting in front of homeowners. So no brainer.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because I built it like I'd want it, right? If I was an agent, like I was doing back in the 90s, would I want to join a group like this where I got a higher return? I could be my own sort of broker, which is why I did this. I like the idea. Technically, I'm not the licensee. Technically, it's Home Advocates, which is technically under Jennifer's real estate license, my CFO. I'm just the trainer here. I might be the mastermind behind a lot of this craziness, for the record, if anybody cares. And I'm certainly the one who put this all together. I wanted to work with other people with this idea, but the truth is, and Pete knows this, there are people that have funnels in EXP, and there are people who were associated sort of around it. They ridiculed my idea and kept telling me to get a real estate license. And I said, you just build a corporation. Like, you don't get it. I'm not going to get a real estate license. I don't want a real estate license. I want to be an investor. I want to be able to write on a contract. I want to do all of these different things. Like, one of the things we offer right now, if we have to stop a sale, I've said this, I've offered myself as well as Home Advocates to write a fair market value or below fair market value offer on any property. That's a very legal thing. I don't have to make weird disclosures. I don't need the agents to make weird disclosures. I am just a human being who happens to have a really cool job at a corporation that works with distressed properties. I'm not here to profit on people's misery. I'm here to help you guys. I said this on a marketing piece. I want to help me, help you, help them. Like that, I think that's going to become like our thing. Help me, help you, help them. I mean, that, and that's what I've seen out of EXP from the value proposition that I can make. Anybody you sign up underneath you in EXP, they'll get access to Home Advocates. They'll get one-on-ones. They'll like they just keep coming in, and we will keep building. I want to get 1,000 agents. First of all, nobody's ever done it in EXP, a frontline 1,000. I don't even know if anybody technically, does anybody actually with all their downlines up to 1,000, Pete? Like, if you counted everyone in somebody's funnel, are there people at 1,000? Did I lose Pete? I've lost Pete. He went silent. Do we think he's talking to the trainer? Does he know he's muted? I don't know. I've lost Pete. But yeah, that's kind of my goal. So from a value proposition standpoint, right, if you're a broker or you're any of these people, my point to all of this is you need a value proposition. I think you do need a passive income. I do think you need the opportunity to recruit these people in. I don't think anybody's offering what I'm offering. And we're very excited that we put together our own Express Buyer Program or e-buyer program or iBuyer program or whatever terminology you want to use. They all just happen in the natural course of everything that's going on. So if you want to join underneath us, call 833-969-4673. Derek or Jen or myself will call you and talk to you about the opportunities. Pete will be happy to talk to you about those opportunities. If you are looking for a mortgage broker in Southern California, you can call Pete Sanchez as well. Call him at our number, 833-969-4673, and we'll make sure that Pete gets the information and he'll call you back. Remember that I have live events coming up next Monday in Las Vegas, 3.5 hours actual content, no upsell. And lunch at that event. Wow. Jump on that bad boy. 3.5 hours. Gina will be there with me. So that's your special guest for the event. And it will be very exciting. We're very excited to be there. We'll be opening the doors at 10 o'clock. We're going to try to have words come out starting at 10:30 out of my mouth. There will be a 15-minute pre-log or prologue to the whole thing. That will be the entire time with commercials. And then I'm going to do it just like you would watching the Rose Parade. I'm going to go straight through, and Gina will go through. I think Fred Solomon might show up at that event as well, which is kind of exciting. So we have some guests lined up for you that should be beneficial at that event. Then we're doing 3 in LA the following week. Carlsbad on Monday. Wednesday is Anaheim. And then Friday is North Hollywood. If you sign up for one event and you want to go to one of the other events, it's fine. We're specifically recording and streaming the first event. I'm not going to do it for all of the events. I'm also not doing lunch at the LA events, and they're a little more toned down. Anaheim's a little bit longer because I think I have a bunch of people showing up, and it's going to be weird. But if you go to the first event, this is what I've told everybody. Those that go to the first event have access to the other 3 events. So if you come out from LA and you decide to go to one of those events, go to the Las Vegas event, you can go to any of the LA events. That's the deal. But you got to go to the Las Vegas event. And yes, those tickets do cost more. Lunch is included. You are getting a kind of a weird, I wouldn't say it's a weird event. I certainly haven't done it in 10 years, which means I'm probably going to put too much content in. And then, conversely, by the time I get back to LA, it'll be a little bit different. For all of that information, go to homeadvocates.io. And I promise in 3.5 hours, you will understand the marketing, conversion, and conversation of distressed property from A to Z. Homeadvocates.io, or again, our number, 833-969-4673. We can get you to Pete. We can get you to me. We can get you to Derek. If you want to sign up for the system and be a home advocate because you're already with EXP or with somebody else, the price is going to go up in just a few days. If you don't think the minute they turn FICO back on, I'm not raising the price to $5,000, there's even going to be an enrollment fee for EXP agents in the future. Those that have actually seen my order form, I'm not changing it. I'm just changing the number at events right now because you're playing a speculation game. I know there will be distressed properties. I know you will. We've already sent leads out to our clients. When there are more and the FICO scores are all turned back on and people are in distress, the prices will go up. And I believe that's about 2 weeks. So I would say take advantage of it now. If you're going to join up for EXP, there's no fee right now. Again, 833-969-4673. Leave a message and we'll have somebody call you back.